Everything from overlanding in your stock rig to full-on LS-powered 2 buggies on stickies. This is the Total Off-Road Podcast. I'm Steve.
And I'm Ian, and you are back for another episode of the Total Off-Road Podcast.
Which one is it?
50 freaking 6.
56.
I was going to say lucky number 56.
You should have, because there's been some people that have been asking about the lucky numbers.
I just when do you bring that back?
Whenever you want.
Okay. Just pop it in every once in a while.
57 sounds like a good one.
Okay.
Lucky number 57, because 7's in there and 7's my lucky number.
7 is a good number.
So, we're back. Another episode, another week. I hope you guys had a kick-ass week. Starting off your 2021, getting her rocking and rolling here. It is the 12th, I do believe, as of this release.
Yes.
And here's the bad news. We're going to start early with this. I'm going to get it right out of the way.
Drop it like a bomb.
Like a bomb. I have 4 days to make a decision.
Okay.
I have 4 days to make a decision. No, actually, I have 3 days. As this releases, I have 3 days to make a decision on whether or not I'm going to go to the cliffs on Saturday. That's the last day. So they have announced it finally. They're going to stop trucks. The last day for trucks will be the 17th.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
Are we going?
I'm not going.
You're not going to go.
No.
If I go, you're not coming with me.
Well,
just asking. Oh, but Saturday.
I'd probably have to start working Saturdays.
You should get somebody else to do it for you. Tell them you're sick.
Let me look at the list of other people. There's no list.
Can I post that picture of that truck?
Which truck?
Yours. All dirty.
Where at?
On our Instagram.
Oh.
Is that a no-go? Why?
I don't know.
Okay. I just was going to post up and be like, can we take a moment to appreciate?
There was a bunch of social media stuff that was posted or went down earlier this year with the company. That was if you have anything relating to the company on your social media page and blah, blah. There was a couple there was a branch manager in Springfield that got fired.
Really? What was his? He's like,
he posted some derogatory phrases back 10 years ago on his Facebook page, and they kicked him down the road.
Oh, that kind of derogatory.
Yeah.
Like racially charged.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's how it works these days. We just judge everybody on what they used to say.
Yep. And then I guess
that to me, if you look back in somebody's history and it's 10 years ago and they're like, well, you said it like this. Well, bro, people change.
Yeah.
Give somebody a fucking chance.
Well, he was 29
when he said it.
No, currently.
Oh my God. So 10 years ago, he was 19?
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yes.
Yeah. People are dumb. You know that, right? There's no common sense related
he
anymore.
Got fired from a good job for that.
Yeah.
And then
because oops, I didn't take that off my page from 10 years ago.
Yeah. When you were 19.
Yeah. When you're 19 and somebody pissed you off and you said something charged of something controversial today.
Yeah. And
maybe not even then so
I
much.
Didn't see it, so I don't know what it was. I just was
and the worst part is do they know his backstory? At the time,
I don't know.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Maybe you've learned things.
We don't. Oh yeah. You learn things every day. That's the whole when, what's her name? What was that chick's name? The cook? Paula Deen.
Oh,
when she got chastised for things that she said in the 70s when they were at the time, it was socially okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Bro, that's 30 years ago.
There's a lot of change happens
you know what I'm saying?
in 30
exactly.
years. Hopefully. Maybe it hasn't, but that's the thing.
Well, yeah.
Some people can change quite a bit in that time.
Oh, right. Exactly.
That time frame.
And it's just I don't know. That sort of thing when somebody just goes off the handle and they freak out about something somebody said 10 years ago without giving them an opportunity to even explain themselves or have any kind of thing. It just pisses me off. Anyway, so nonetheless, I was going to post that on our social media.
That was funny.
I was just going to post that and be like, can we take a moment to appreciate how hard the guys at United Rentals work?
We're getting down.
They get the job done. Look at this truck.
Apparently, there was a guy that was part of a neighborhood group on Facebook.
A neighborhood group.
Yeah.
Okay.
A thing, I guess. And apparently had a disagreement with one of his neighbors, threatened to beat one of his neighbor's ass with his cane.
With his cane.
With his cane, yeah.
And he worked for the company.
Yeah.
He's an older fella.
So I don't know who, I'm assuming it was some old guy that was, complaining about something or whatever. And he's told him he was going to beat his ass
with his own cane.
Yeah, something like that. And this is all I heard this.
Yeah.
They told us all this on what not to do. And then someone else not involved in the disagreement, but was also part of this Facebook neighborhood thing, didn't like the fact that this guy was threatening to do whatever with this cane or put this cane wherever he was going to put it. Screenshotted it all and sent it to his boss because on his Facebook profile, it showed where he worked.
Yeah.
And then I don't think he got fired, but I feel like it was one of those like, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Because it's tied to the company. Yeah, so after that, I went on my Facebook page and my Instagram.
House.
And, you won't figure out. You could probably read between the lines with something or like see a background photo or something. But like
for the most part, you don't know you
doesn't
there.
Say if you're not a friend of mine, you have no fucking clue. And I was
guess
like,
this is the high side. This is one of the high sides of like working for yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You represent you and your opinions.
Somebody calls you, like, your employee's doing this. Well, I'll fire him.
I'll kick his ass.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the thing. Like, I'm proud of where I work. Like, I'm the first to tell you. I'm the first to talk about it. I'm the first to post it on social media. I've posted pictures of like, hey, out here busting ass doing this and this, and it's all positive stuff. But like, that's I'm not going to get pulled down because I put that out there. So I just go, you know what? Fine. You don't want me to put that because they were like, remove all your, the best option is just delete your Facebooks and all this. And I'm like, go the fuck away.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you guys run my personal life.
So then they're like, well,
you
if
don't pay me that good, motherfucker.
Yeah. I will not do. I got a fucking podcast around here, folks.
Last time I checked, my bank didn't have 6 figures a week coming in. So get the fuck out of my face.
But that was their first option was to delete your social media accounts.
Wow.
The alternative to that was just remove all of your workplace employment or, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so you don't want me to be proud that I work there. Nope. So I'll just remove all your shit and you can kiss my ass.
Yep. That's it.
So
that's wild. And I get that. Like when you have, what do you guys have? Thousands of employees?
Yeah.
You guys got 900 locations?
Something like that.
Yeah. So you got
it's a big fucking
tens of thousands of employees. And so like on the one hand, you have you who's like, I'm proud to work here.
Yep.
I have I hold a higher,
there's
whatever.
Probably a lot of fuck sticks.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of people doing dumb stuff on their social media. That's just like, they're like, well, I don't care. It's just where I work.
The best one that I've seen.
Okay.
And then we'll move on.
Yeah.
But this was pretty funny.
This side tangent.
There was a
good story.
I think it was either on Snapchat or TikTok. That someone posted a video of a United Rentals water truck, like a tandem axle water truck, was water blasting, like, because they got the fucking like spray bars and shit on them, was spraying a crowd of I don't know what, like, if it was BLM or whatever protest it was, but they were literally like hosing these motherfuckers down. Turns out, from what I have learned, it was someone had it on rent that was like somebody used it or whatever. But it's like down the side of this, I don't know, fucking 1,000-gallon tank is the like
United
biggest
Rentals.
Fucking United Rentals logo that we could put on this thing. And they had like the cops had them pulled over and all this shit. And I'm like, but it shows them like spraying down the protesters and the cops like pulling over.
Because that's a big, like when you turn those things on, dude, that's a healthy dose of water.
We fucked around with them at the yard a couple times, and boy, I'm usually the one holding the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the pressure feels on the other side, but there's people that shouldn't be running. We're running out of the way, which was God, it was a glorious moment.
It was just a hot day. I wanted to help them out. I just wanted to, water them down. They were angry because they were so hot. I had to cool them off.
Yeah, one of our drivers come around the corner of the building, and I like started fucking accelerating towards him. He just fucking took off hauling ass. I'm like,
want no part of that.
But so that was the comical moment for me, because I'm just like,
that's the thing when you put your shit on the side of your vehicle and then you rent it out to somebody, like you're at their mercy. You don't know what they're going to do with that. You didn't have them sign a contract that said don't spray protesters with this.
So I said this. That was the last. I could go on with this for fucking days.
I'll bet. Yeah.
We had
and if you guys don't like this conversation, then you don't live a real life.
Yes. We had a pickup on rent to a company. Once they were renting a bunch of equipment, and then they would rent a pickup to drive around this job site. And apparently they would drive this pickup back to their hotel or whatever, because they were out of state guys that were working. We got a call one morning, and it was, hey, do you guys have a spare key for this pickup? Like, no, we don't. Because sometimes we do, but sometimes trucks get shipped around from store to store, so that like spare key doesn't go with it, kind of a thing. So it's kind of a crapshoot. So for that particular one, we did not. And we're like, why? What'd you do? You lose it? Yeah, it's locked inside or no. They lost it. They lost it canoeing.
Oh no.
At the like river or some shit. Oh. But the truck was parked out front of a bar.
Oh Jesus.
In this town.
Oh God.
So what they had to do, we had to send a wrecker
to relocate the truck,
reload the truck back to Ford because Ford had to like reprogram this because it was a new truck. We had to get them all this paperwork that showed that we owned the truck and everything. And they had to recut this key, right? So they do this. We get them a key. We charge them for the tow and the key and all that.
Oh man!
And then I shit you not, like 2 weeks later,
they find the key.
They called needing a letter that stated that United Rentals owned the vehicle. And we're like, what the fuck you need that for? Turns out one of these guys got a DUI, got pulled over, DUI. They impounded the truck. The impound lot wouldn't release them or their boss the truck because they didn't own it. United Rentals owned it. Oh
my God.
So they had to get somebody who called our legal department. We're like, this is what happened. And they just sent him like this letter.
Yep. Wow.
And I'm like,
legal department's like, it happens all the time.
Yeah, we're like, we have one of those. We wrote up already. But I'm like, oh my goodness. Like,
jeez.
They totally like lost the key, like canoeing and all this stuff.
Same company.
Same guys. Like it was.
That's a rowdy bunch.
Yeah, they know how to party.
Yeah.
They're nice guys.
Tradesman stuff.
Yeah. But it's just like.
They're nice guys. They just know how to party.
They just know how to get in. But boy.
Probably had 3 beers at dinner and then got pulled over.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't know if they were like belligerently drunk or like, had a couple of beers at dinner. But either way, I got pulled over, popped for a dewey, and they like impounded. Could you imagine though? Like, you're that guy's boss. You just got a notification or an email or a phone call that like, yeah, we lost the key because we were canoeing.
Okay.
But the truck was at a bar. So you tell us how you lost the key, right?
Yeah.
Charge you for a tow bill, charge you for all this shit.
Like, all right.
Okay, that's your fucking get out of jail. Like, don't fuck this up again. And then, like, a couple weeks later, so and so got popped for a dewey. Shit's impounded
in the truck, in the
rental truck. Yeah,
that's it. You're getting your own personal vehicle from now on.
Man, like, no thanks. That makes me glad I'm not in a management role because I'd just be like, "Are you fucking serious?" And you probably can't say that in a certain like business setting, but like. Are you fucking stupid?
At that point, you do. You're just like, come on. Like,
my dad used to do that every once in a while. He would just kind of like, are you fucking stupid? Like it's like, no, I didn't even get my ass chewed once in a while. It would just be like, are you fucking dumb? And I'm like,
yes,
yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Turns out this, yes.
See, that's what had happened was I had a moment of
a lack of judgment. But then you have to stand and be like, yeah, I'm an idiot.
So anyway,
okay.
Back to off-roading.
We could talk about
was
this.
Was this the podcast? Wait, is this the Tradesman Experience?
This is the total off-road podcast. They were canoeing, I think. Quote, finger quotes.
That was off-road.
So it was technically off-road.
Anyhow, back to the funness. You didn't do a damn thing this week other than work.
I did some research. I did more research than I normally do.
We had a really good conversation over on the Patreon about some steering axle things.
Steve,
not Ian's.
His brain is still sliding down the wall.
We're trying to decide if we're going to recreate that. I asked Ian, I was like, do you want to rehab this conversation on the actual podcast? And he looked at me. He's like, I'm not sure if I can afford to.
I'm already getting a bill from Spider Track and Busted Knuckle for discussing their axle prices.
Yeah, for leaving the cart abandoned. They're going to just send him a bill like, hey, excuse me. You had $10,000 in the cart. We're going to have to charge you for that.
So here's a question I have.
1% cart fee.
After you said this.
Okay.
So on our website, if you go in and put shit in a cart and then like it's an abandoned cart at the same point, you get a notification and it's like you can send an email out and it's like, hey, you left your cart. Yeah. Do they get one from like Spider Tracks? Because like here's a bold statement.
You go
more often than not, someone puts a $10,000 axle in a cart and never buys it. I've done it like fucking 35 times and I have never bought a fucking sticker
the same email, like the same thing. Like they're looking at your cart and they're like, oh, Ian again.
Yeah, this fucking idiot. But like, they got to turn that off.
I don't know on our website. I'm not sure if the abandoned cart I don't know if you get a message about an abandoned cart if they're not like
an account.
Not an account, but like, let's put some sort of information in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I only have one abandoned at the time.
I have it turned off on our website, but I know I can turn it on.
I had it on, and I don't know if I can view it in my app or not. But it had like the carts abandoned. I think it was on the actual website. Like, no, it's on the computer doing it. And it was like abandoned carts, and I went and looked at it. And it was 1. I was like, well, that's a pretty low number.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. I just wondered if because Spider Tracks, I've probably spent $100,000 pricing shit out with them, and I've never bought a sticker. So
right.
What do you do?
Oh, crazy. Dude,
funny.
The other night, so I posted that video the other night, and I said in the video what the website was, but I didn't have a link to it or anything. And I was trying to continue polishing, and I had to go in and shut the notifications off because that makes a certain notification when I get like somebody on the thing. Every time I get a new visitor, like somebody comes and visits the website and they're doing stuff on the website.
Yep.
My phone would like, bloop, just makes a little like notification noise. Was literally had my headphones on trying to polish, and I was listening to a podcast, and it was bloop, bloop, bloop. It was every 3 seconds.
Yep.
Every 3 seconds that notification was going off for the website.
It's a good problem.
I was like, are you kidding? I don't have anything on there to sell.
Well, see that the good problem is they come to see you.
Yeah.
The bad problem is all out of stock.
We were having that discussion earlier, and I pulled up the website, which I looked at yesterday morning, and I had 5,000 site sessions or 5,200 site sessions in Ian's. And I asked Ian, I was like, so how many do I have now? I was getting ready to refresh it. And what'd you say, like 7?
Oh, like 72 or something
like that. Like 7 something. I looked at it, it was 11. It was like 11 something, 11.2 or something like that. Now it's 11.8.
5,000 people came to buy a skillet, and you
and 5,000 people
all.
left without a skillet.
Yep.
No, 4,998 left without a skillet.
See, so 2 satisfying
because 2
customers.
people bought skillets. Yep. Cleaned my house. Cleaned me out. It's good. It's bad.
Steve's hiring a skillet polisher.
And cup. Skillet and cup polisher if anyone wants to learn. Boy, we should talk about off-road things.
Okay, so I did some research this week.
Oh yeah,
and
back to axles.
No, not even axles.
Oh, back to off-road parts.
Back to lack of power things.
Oh
in
yeah,
my buggy.
Yeah, because you were looking at some camshafty goodies.
I'm looking at all kinds of options because I don't really want to make a rash decision to be like, I'm gonna throw a blower on it, or something.
Yeah, blowers.
Stupidly awesome.
You should do it.
I would love to. Be so cool. Big old fucking nasty blower fucking sticking out the top. The whole blower would be out of the top of the hood, which would be perfectly acceptable.
Not an off-road rig.
No, it'd be great until you flopped it over and then just fucked. So,
man,
I had 2 separate conversations that were both unsolicited. And why that's important to me, and maybe it's just me, I get such a kick when somebody hits me up on text message or whatever and is like, hey, this is my opinion on how to fix your problem, be it with whatever. And they're not just a dumb fuck going, you should just buy it. Like,
what do you mean?
Like if you're talking about like a big motor or something like that. It's not just buy a blown big block
and call it a day.
But thanks. Right. I appreciate your thoughtful insight. It still entertains me.
No real reason, but just do it.
So when someone big block. Unsolicitedly, is that a word? Unsolicitedly?
Yeah, like you didn't ask for their opinion, but they gave it to you?
They give you their opinion, but it's like based on either past experience or some kind of technical because then I can have a technical conversation and I'm like, oh, this is useful. No, I enjoy the it's my blown fucking alcohol dragster motor or something. I enjoy that. Just it's not useful. So I had 2 people reach out and they both were talking about my lack of power complaints, we'll say. And both conversations steered in the direction of one another. They both ended up like they kind of went like this and V'd together to the same root cause of a usable power problem. I'll call it usable power problem. That seems to be the most logical statement.
All right.
So what did a Turbo 400 generally, more often than not, came out of a truck? Like an old truck with a small block 350 making a few horsepower. 200
horsepower at the flywheel on a good day.
On a good day, downhill with
back with the tail
ideal temperatures.
And altitude. So anyway.
So that would be what you're going to bring it in, right?
Right.
So a LS engine out of the box, stock, no cam, no power adders, makes more power than that small block ever even thought about doing in a stock 400 form. So what's the power band on a small block Chevy?
Probably 25 to $5,000.
You think so?
Probably. It's my guess. I don't know what I mean, obviously it's going to depend on what the cam is and all that stuff. You talking about stock?
I'm talking stock a stock small block 350. So where's you making the power?
Probably 15 to 42, 15 to 45.
Okay, so your low number is about 1,500 horsepower. Or
1,500 RPMs where 1,500
horsepower.
Where it starts making power.
Yes.
Which would mean the converter would be fairly low.
Yes. That's what I'm getting at here.
Yeah. Whereas LSs are made to sing, especially a 4.8.
Yep.
Which is essentially a 327. No, 293.
I don't even know off the top of my head.
I think a 4.8 is like a 290. So 327 would be a 5.3. So yeah, 290, like a 293.
I think 293 kind of sounds familiar to me.
Motors, right. It's a small stroke, small bore, ready to fucking party.
Yes. So a stock converter on a 400.
Yeah.
From what I can read and learn and kind of put together is about 18 to 1900 RPM. Okay. So that is taking back to the OEMs aren't as dumb as we all think they are.
Oh, no, they're smart.
And they do their research on, they don't just pick a fucking number. So that the OEM is saying that a turbo 400 behind a small block 350, ideal power band for lockup is 18 to 1900 RPM.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's making enough foot-pounds at that point to be able to carry itself once the converter actually sees.
And to do things. I mean, it's not designed to do off-road shit or whatever. So you got to take all that. And it's like a little asterisk at the end of the statement. But ideally, that's where they're putting their usable power is 18, 1900 horsepower. Jesus.
Who was that?
I didn't.
That was you, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
My shit's muted.
1,800 horsepower. I just want 2,000 fucking horsepower is what my brain is saying. You need 2,000 HPs, man.
So anyway.
So now take an LS and put an LS on a 400. Right. So you're basically making higher horsepower engine that revs more to an older transmission that was not designed for that. Essentially.
Right. So my converter that's in my crew cab on the 4L80 is a 2200.
Okay.
Approximately.
What'd you say? 2200?
2200.
Yep.
And that's behind a small block Chevy, but it was a 2000. So they were gearing up for their next big move, which was going to be a 6-liter in front of it.
Yeah. Which makes sense because you're talking more RPMs with an LS engine.
Sounds to me like you need a 22 to 2400 RPM stall converter at least.
So,
what's the word on the street?
The word on the street, and both of these people gave some firsthand knowledge of things, which was pretty exciting.
Right.
I'm trying to read the spec on the stock 4L60 because I didn't think to look one of those up on what a stock 4L60 converter would lock up at.
Here's the problem with that. The stock 4L60 has a lower first gear than what you have.
The lower first gear is going to be your problem.
So you might want to look more at a 4L80.
So a stock stall on a 4L60 is 1650.
Is 1650 on a 4L60?
4L60, but see, it's got that lower first gear, so it's going to be a little bit more.
Yeah, but even still.
So looking at a stock,
is that behind an LS?
Yes.
Like what? Okay.
Stock
1650. Wow. That's the low side. What is it actually? So it's a range, isn't it?
Yeah, it's usually a range, but that's just what that gave. A 4L80 stock stall is 2 to 25.
Yep.
So the general consensus is that I don't necessarily I do think gears are going to solve some of my problem.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to fix everything because I think I'm not using the power that I have now that I've fixed my engine.
I think they're going to fix a lot more than you might think.
Well, and that's what I'm hoping.
Because here's the thing. My converter in my Jeep, I think, is 18 to 22. And I've got 538s in there on 40s. And it turns them over with what was it? Somebody said that the stock Jeep made 50 some horsepower or something like that on the dyno, the 4-wheel dyno.
All the power
to the wheels.
Yes.
And those 40s, I can turn those things over no problem. And I think that unless for some reason that motor is hurt to a point where it's actually making less than stock horsepower.
Yep.
I think that putting the 538s in is going to do a few things for you. One, it's going to give you way more torque at the axle, and you're going to be able to turn that engine's going to be able to light off faster.
Yep.
And you're going to be able to when the engine RPM comes up, you're going to have a higher RPM to get the same rotation out of the tires anyway. So you're going to be into that power band before the tires turn as much.
But
you know what I'm saying?
So like you're going to have more with that.
Yeah.
But let me go with
you're going to have more than one whole rotation on the drive shaft extra.
Yeah.
For every rotation of the tire.
So then, as far as putting it in the power band, would it not make logical sense to bump that stall up into where the LS uses the power?
So let me ask you this. It would not hurt for you to put a new stall converter in there. A, because we already know that that's just a used stall converter that came with the transmission. You have no idea what it is.
Or if it's loose and smoked. And
if it was loose and smoked, then you would be blowing through it. I mean, like you wouldn't be blowing through it. If it was loose, then theoretically it would rev higher and be more of what you're looking for.
Okay.
Not necessarily transferring the power to the ground.
Yeah.
But you'd be slipping through the torque converter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like it's doing that. When you get up on a hill and you stand in it a little bit, that motor's loaded.
Yeah.
Like you can hear it's loaded.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know you're going to do gears.
Yep.
So why don't we, in the stage of like, do you really want to do gears, torque converter, camshaft? Do you want to do all that shit at the same time and just be like, okay, I did it all. And then you're like, oh, I don't like it.
Yes.
But you don't know why you don't like it because is it the gears? Is it the torque converter? Is it the cam? What did you change in that you don't necessarily like what changed? So instead, we already know you're going to do gears. Mm-hmm. That's already locked in. We're doing that. So let's do gears first and throw those in, which will lead into that conversation that you and I had right before the podcast about your whole gear debacle tabling things.
Yep.
Do gears first, take it out and run it. Like it's a day trip to the Badlands.
Yep.
Like who doesn't want to go over there for a weekend or for a day anyway?
Yep.
We day trip it over after you do the gear swap and we try that out. You see how you like it. From there, we make a second adjustment, whether it be, okay, we seem to be okay on the stall now, but a little more power wouldn't hurt. So let's do a camshaft. And then once you get the camshaft in, then you'll know where do I need to be on my stall converter because your camshaft is going to, what do you call it? I don't know.
It's going to pair together.
It's going to pair with it. Yeah. So depending on what camshaft you decide to run, there's going to be a torque converter that is ideal for that camshaft.
Yep.
Like if you go big and gnarly on a camshaft, you're going to need a bigger stall converter, or torque stall converter, whatever you call it. But either way, I think that in order of operations, if you want to use it that way, I think gears, test it, then decide, do I do a cam now? Or am I happy with how the engine's running now that we have more usable torque, and then decide just to do maybe an upgraded torque converter, or maybe pick the shaft that you want to use for the cam and know where you're going to need to be for the torque converter, and then put a torque converter in it, try that, then do a cam.
So I had a couple,
and maybe some of the listeners will have a different opinion on what order you should do that in. But I think that gears are definitely a no-brainer. Start there.
Here's the only caveat to that.
I'm listening.
Two things, really. I have a leak between the transmission and the transfer case. So I need to just plop that off, reseal it, put it back together. I'm only like
5 volts.
6.
I can't remember. Does the tunnel come out?
Yes.
It's unbolted. You can unbolt the tunnel and then unbolt the trans.
But you shouldn't need to remove the trans to swap converters. You should just be able to slide it back, and I can get up underneath of it, swap converters, bolt it up, and then just so I don't even have to fuck with that. But yes, it does come out.
Do you already have a camshaft in mind?
Yep.
So you already kind of know when you do pull the trigger on a camshaft, you know where you're going to go. Then I would maybe get your
converter's $200.
Really? From who?
Summit.
Just a TCI or what?
It's their Summit brand.
Oh, Summit brand.
Whoever the fuck makes their
just
shit.
Some converter.
Is literally $200.
What size is it?
10-inch.
Okay.
28 to 3200 stall.
Oh my God, it's so big.
But see, a fucking 4.8, fucking, she's
they're made to sing. I don't know.
Rap out.
I don't know what size, what the max RPM of a stock 4.8 is, but yeah, I know they're made. They do tend to run higher in the RPM.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder how you're going to like that running inside the converter 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're going to be under the stall speed 90% of the time.
And that's, I think, the balance for me is
so when you were out
figuring the crawl versus the go fast.
I know. And that's what you need balance. To like, yeah. Cause like if you're doing racing, if you were racing like at the events at 0.1, then I think that stall converter will be fine because you're going to stick it on the floor, especially with 538s. You're going to stick it on the floor and leave it there. And you're going to be out, you're going to be in,
you're going to be in the power band going.
Yeah. You're going to be past your stall speed. But, as far as like getting up a wall or something like that, like it's going to sound awesome because it's going to like, wah! You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it's going to come off, like light up. But you said 28 to 32. Wow.
Which I think is a little high. I'd like to find one in the like 25,
28 would be 28.
Nice. Which they make them. This is the one I just had pulled up. But I was just trying to get a price.
I feel like it's high, but then again, I don't have. So also your torque converter stall speed also depends on your horsepower.
Mm-hmm.
So like it says 28 to 32, but if you only got 200 horsepower, that might be 25 to 28. If you got 800 horsepower, that might be 32 to 34.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like the more power you got, the harder that thing's gonna push that thing to go.
That's why I think it's all a match. Because honestly, I think gears play into that.
Yeah.
I think your gear, your transmission, your transfer case gear, and your like engine, cam, all that,
right,
and stall speed. I think that all kind of like
blueprint
goes to one. Yeah, that's essentially, yeah. And
we need a go fast guy.
Shit,
like to discuss these
things.
They get
expensive quick.
The go fast
Those
guys
people like to spend money.
I'll bet you $5. Somebody that's listening to this right now, $5, just enough to buy you some nugs.
Yep.
Bet you $5. Somebody that's listening to this right now is either A, beating their head off the table.
They've already done that.
No. Or they have a solution for what you're doing.
So
like they can help.
That's kind of what those conversations I had earlier this week were on this is what engine I had. This is what this I had. This is what that I had. This is what this I had.
And what they come up with.
About 25 to 2,800.
Okay. See,
stall.
That's what I feel like. I feel like over 3,000, you're going to live inside, like under the stall speed.
And that's where, but that's what I don't get because I'm not trying to go like super big, nasty, like, cam. So that's where I think like,
if you keep the LSA, you keep the LSA pretty mild.
Yep.
111, 112 LSA.
The problem is there's so many freaking numbers and I hate trying to remember all these freaking numbers because I'm just not good with remembering
the numbers
of things.
You need a 500. What you need a 500 plus lift.
I'll give you the part number.
You need a 500 plus lift with like a 220s duration somewhere in there. High teens, low 20s duration, and then like a 112 LSA.
Yep. Cool story. This all goes out over my head. I just want somebody to be like, "This is."
It'll just have a nice little rumble. You know, just kind of just a nice little rumble.
So stage 2, Gen 3.
Who drank all my coffee?
Ego.
Motherfuckers. We have to keep an eye on the clock today.
Yep.
Yeah, we're not going to get anything done today.
We will.
This is going to be a terrible podcast.
No. It's full of very technical
This is going to be a very short podcast.
So you're saying...
Mm-hmm.
I just don't even know how you know this.
What's that? That's just my, I looked at a lot of camshafts.
That's what I mean. Like, I just never really farted around with it. So that's what I'm unsure of what I need, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, I feel like they all kind of work together. So here's my shit plan.
Mm-hmm.
I have a thick ass, like this mother trucker is fat fan to put in. Like,
okay.
Might have read the specs, but it didn't click on how thick. Fucking thing's like 3 inches.
Well, you said thick. It was like 2.5 or 3, like 2 3/4 thick, right? Didn't you say that?
Yeah,
for sure.
But that's what I mean. Like,
but you said
what's a 3-inch thick fan look like? Like, you see it and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
a little bigger than you thought.
It'll fit, but it's just like, woo.
Right.
So I've got that to put in.
Right.
So my plan is to drain coolant, pull the radiator out.
Okay.
Take the fan, set it on the back, build me a shroud thing that holds it all together and mounts it all as one. There is nothing in the way of the camshaft going in and out of the engine. So what better time to just bloop, bloop.
Oh, is that all it is to put a camshaft in? Bloop, bloop.
It's not bad just on the OS. But that's what I mean. Like, there's nothing else in the way. Not that I couldn't do it again. Perfectly fine with that. But like, bloop, bloop.
So you want to just do it all. Just get her.
And then with the converter, I have to reseal the Atlas. So might as well drop the drive lines, pull the Atlas out.
I'm having a hard time.
Transmission back.
I'm having a hard time arguing with this logic.
See my problem?
Yeah.
So this is why I was talking about the whole rear steer.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I could get this all lined out and then just swap a fucking axle in when the rear steer is done. Because that does not have any effect.
We were discussing before the podcast, we were discussing his thought of tabling the rear steer for a moment.
Yes.
So instead of investing time and money into getting that rear axle done, instead take that time and energy and
get all
money
this shit done
and do the other things to make the buggy perform. And then fine tune the steering issue,
which is logical. I mean, but
it does make sense.
I was like, oh, rear steer.
Yeah.
So I would still work on it and build truss and all that because that doesn't cost me money. I got steel and everything for that.
Right.
But oh yeah, did I tell you I got my axle tube back from the machine shop?
No. You said you told me how much it cost you to have it machined.
Yeah,
but you didn't say you got it back.
I picked it up and got it all done. Yep.
Yeah. Who did it?
Read Silver.
Okay.
Read the micrometer a little closer. Use one next time.
Oh no!
It's the good.
It's real tight.
It's bigger than it needs to be.
How many biggers?
Just a little bit. But just like not much.
Can you get it in?
I'm gonna get it in. It's just gonna require a little grinding. But it also costs about $120 more than the $100 I thought it was going to cost me to get it done.
Well, you took it to that machine shop.
Well, they're not cheap.
They are not cheap. You had the tube turn, not the knuckles.
Yeah, I just had the two ends of the tube.
You just literally took them the tube and said turn this down
on both ends.
You should have definitely taken that to Wagner because they didn't know what the tube's for.
This is true, but
I feel like Wagner's is much more affordable when it comes to that. I don't know that for sure, but
I hate putting a price on somebody else's craft.
How long is that tube that you need turned down?
4 foot. Well, I didn't have the whole thing. I bought a 4 foot chunk, and then I just had 3.5 inches
on either end.
3 3/4 inches on each end turned down to 3.5, and then my plan is
cut it where you need to.
Cut it where I need to.
Why don't you cut it where you need to, and then let me know, and I'll get my buddy Steve and see if his lathe at home is big enough to turn down your long side. If he has enough, he's got a full size lathe at the house.
It's only going to be like 2 foot max.
If I don't know what size, I don't know how big his lathe is as far as length goes, but if it's big enough to turn it down, let me just, when you get it cut, measure that, let me know, and I'll see if we can get it turned down there at his place. And it'll cost you a lot less.
That would be wonderful because I feel like I only missed it by a couple thousands.
Yeah, Jesus.
But when you look at a couple thousands of trying to go a fucking 3.5 inch hole,
right?
She tight.
She tight. Missed it by a couple thousands. Wow. And it's turned to the exact measurement you gave them.
I just told them 3.5.
Oh.
Because I didn't think to measure, actually measure the fucking center section. So I pulled an in.
Oh, and it's the center section side.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh. Dammer boy. Can we warm the housing up and cool the tube down?
I put it in front of a 6,000 BTU heater.
Yeah.
And got it so hot that I couldn't touch it. And
right.
It didn't make it.
You couldn't get it in there. Could you maybe could you leave the tube outside?
The tube was already outside.
Okay. So the tube was cold. The housing was extra warm.
I had that thought because I was like, what can I do to easily slide this in the hole? I'll just put it in front of this fucking heater that's going.
I feel like that would have gave you maybe 1,000's tolerance. I don't really know how to expect the expansion rate of cast.
I don't know. But it's probably not enough to make a fucking difference.
Apparently not. Okay, so it needs to be turned down a little more. No problem.
Yeah.
So,
but I got it back. So I can. My goal is to get the housing built, but the
could you just take a? Oh, you said it's 3.5 inches deep.
Yeah.
You need a hell of a bit. I was gonna say, could you just take a knurl bit and just knurl the entire housing?
The idea was I'm just gonna go fucking
I'll just bore the
3.5 inch hole saw, and I'm just gonna.
No, God, Jesus Christ! No, you take. I have You take one of the flap wheels, the sanding flap wheels, get you like an 80 grit 2-inch wheel.
Yep.
And just put that on the end of your die grinder
and just waller it out,
and it just make it round. You just go roundy round. You go until, I mean, you're taking off a couple thousandths.
Well, I don't think it's too much oversized.
I was thinking it was on the knuckle side.
No,
and that made me more concerned. Being on the housing side, I'm not as concerned.
Nope.
Yeah,
it's literally going to go in there, and it's going to be straight. I'm thinking if you had an
80 grit 2-inch wheel, which I think you can buy at Farm and Fleet or something. And just put it on a die grinder.
Just let it ride.
Your M12 will not like you.
No, I'll just use an air one.
Okay. Yeah. If you got an air one, do
shop
that.
Compressor.
Yep. Do that. Put it on a die grinder. Make some loopy loops in there. Give her a good old testy fit, And then this is why we don't record this podcast on video.
Yeah.
Motions like that.
Jerking her off. Yes.
But anyway, do that. And I think you can probably get it with that.
That's going to be the goal.
If you're a machinist or or an engineer, don't listen to that.
Pounding their head.
Just get the damn tube turned down.
I did. It was $220 freaking to turn 7 inches of fucking tube down.
What? And they took a 1/4 inch off?
Yeah.
Jesus, we're in the wrong business.
I didn't ask how much it was going to be. To be fair,
I don't give a fuck.
But because I just needed it done.
Yeah.
But like.
Come now.
Boy.
That seems kind of steep. How many hours did they have in that? How long does it take to turn down 2 3.5-inch sections?
Okay, let me say this because I'm sure there are people that do machine work that listen to this podcast, and I don't want to piss you off by speaking to your craft because I don't want somebody to tell me how to do my job, but I'm going to tell you how to do your job.
Yeah.
Don't be mad. But that motherfucker can't take like 30 fucking minutes to do. Like,
I wouldn't think. It's not hardened.
That's what I mean. It's just fucking 3.5-inch DOM. No, it's 3 3/4 DOM.
Literally,
you got to knock a 1/4 inch off 3.75 fucking inches. Turn it around, knock the same amount off.
I just don't think it would have taken an hour to do that.
I'm not a doctor, but that can't take that long.
I'm not a doctor.
Okay? So I don't want to piss somebody off, but like,
let's be honest.
Literally, it's not a hard job.
Boy, does this not feel like the conversation we had in the Patreon about the whole Spider Tracks housing?
Yeah. Same concept. But then I'm like, I just need my own lathe.
Yep. No shit.
Yeah,
but
you need just go buy one of those,
You need more shop.
I need more dollars. I need more shop. I need more power. Like, you see my problem? So I'm like, okay, $220 isn't bad when you consider the tooling to buy it. But, I mean, come the fuck on.
Yeah.
So,
like $80 an hour. How long, how many hours do you have in that? So,
it's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, yeah,
I was pissed.
That's rough.
And then I went to stick it in the hole and assumed.
You're like, oh, no,
and I'm like, bro, that's not even fucking close.
If it makes you feel any better, I did the same thing with Silvers. Took them a drive shaft and apparently mismeasured the drive shaft length. Got it back home and it was 2 inches too short.
Yep.
So I spent $85 having a drive shaft re-lengthened that I then just tossed to the side.
Throw in a corner. I should have just took the damn center section in there and been like, that needs to go in that hole. But that would have cost me another $700.
Here's what happened. I knew what I had like lengthwise at the house, and I needed it to be X amount of inches shorter. Now, this was a drive shaft that I had already built, and I was wanting to get one professionally done.
Yep.
So I'd already shortened it. I needed it shortened, but I was like, I'm gonna take it to the machine shop and have it done. So I went to the junkyard, got a brand new shaft. So they'd have like a fresh shaft to work with.
Yep.
Pulled it from an automatic. It was already the length I needed.
Jesus.
Took it to them and said, take out 3 inches.
So you ruined a shaft.
I bought a shaft for like $5 that was the exact length I needed. And then took it to the machine shop and had them cut it up for $80 or $85.
I just get in a tunnel mode and I don't think of shit because my thing is a 14 bolt shaft's 3.5 inches. Yep. Okay. It's not legitimately 3.5 inches. So my
or if it is, it's just, real.
So I just stupid ass walked in there and I'm like, all right,
turn it down to
3.5.
Yep. That's the same thing with me. I knew that I already had a shaft. I went and pulled another shaft. I'm like, it needs to be shorter. Took it in. I didn't bother to measure anything because I already know. And didn't think about the fact that I pulled it from a truck that was an automatic and had a different length transmission.
Yep.
And like, I threw it up in there. I'm like, fuck. Literally went and grabbed the other shaft that I had already like made. Threw it back in there. Threw some sticky weights on it and put some duct tape in and some zip ties around the sticky weights. Was like, good enough.
Have a good day.
Mini truck problems.
Yeah. So I fucked up. And it's depressing.
Heard that.
But so I'm gonna still do the housing and get it all done up. But the couple $1,000 that you can spend to finish that rear steer project, I can thoroughly invest that into gears, stall, cam, some other piddly things that I want to get finished up just to kind of finish up and clean up the build. I gotta get some fucking washer fluid nozzles.
Oh yeah,
those are like $30 a piece. I swear to God.
What? So you're gonna put them in the hood?
Yeah,
like the factory hood.
They've got the factory little things that
I know a guy.
Yeah, do you?
I know a guy.
He probably charged me $30 for them.
It's got some S10 parts.
So I literally was on the internet and I looked him up and I'm like, are you freaking serious? Like, it's a washer fluid nozzle.
And it was $30.
They were expensive. $20-$30.
Why don't we go to the junkyard and get a pair?
That's what I'm like. I just need to go just take 9,000 of them things. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Run out there to Cultus.
I do need a window. So,
Oh yeah, you gotta go
too.
So you need to go to Cultus anyway.
Windows are about $100 on eBay.
Oh
yeah, but that's like shipped and everything.
They're like $15 at fucking.
That's what I mean. Like I just need to go grab one out of a junkyard.
And while you're there, get you a couple of washer nozzles.
Yeah.
We did washer nozzles on Matt's Jeep. We changed out and we did them, built them out of brake line. Literally took a piece of brake line, trimmed it down to like maybe 1.5 inches long.
Yep.
Stuck it where the washer squirters go, slid it inside the washer hose.
Yep.
And then took a pair of pliers and just crimped
it down to make like a flattened duckbill looking nozzle.
I'll tell you what.
Probably pumps her out.
Those are some hosers. Yep. And then they were dual purpose because once you get up on a little good of a pretty good angle, about that angle where it kind of starts getting light in the front end on his Jeep.
Yep.
They would start watering the windshield for you.
So it was your like,
oh, okay.
Back up. Don't do it.
It's steep, so don't do dumb shit right now.
Yep. It's the dumb shit alarm.
Yeah, the dumb shit alarm. Like, the windshield's get
reverse.
You wouldn't have to reverse, but just like when it started like watering the windshield, the front end was starting to get light. Like that's where the shocks were like
the tipping point.
Yeah, everything was fully extended. Like it wasn't tipping, but it was,
about to go.
You didn't have a whole ton of weight left on the front end. But anyway, do you want to discuss the steering?
Yeah,
the whole steering debacle.
Yeah.
Okay,
so I could summarize it in about 12 seconds.
All right, go for it.
You're gonna spend $10,000.
Okay, and
we're gonna come up with about 35 different options here. But Steve's gonna spend $10,000.
In the end, one of two things that happen: either A, I'm not gonna steer.
Yep.
Or B,
you're gonna spend $10,000.
You're gonna spend $10,000.
Yep.
Yeah. So we went through a whole combination of fun. I'm not gonna summarize this. I'm gonna give you the cliff notes.
Yep.
So my axle currently, the Dana 44 on the front of my Jeep doesn't steer worth damn. The locks are set in their factory location. It's got a 1310 U joint. We looked up the 1310 max steering angle, and it's approximately 30 degrees, max 25 to 30 degrees before it binds on a 1310 front drive, front axle shaft.
Yep.
So the max angle that I could use on my Dana 44 right now, maximum usable angle is 30 degrees. And I have not measured to see what the actual degree I'm getting right now, but I'm using the full length of the ram. The steering assist ram that I have on it right now is 6 inches long. I'm using the tie rod on the stock knuckle location, and we're using the full extent of all that. So I want more steering angle because my steering radius blows for a 110-inch wheelbase vehicle. And we were discussing on how to increase my steering angle. One of my thoughts was to go to a set of reed knuckles and do a different reed knuckles, different ram, and RCV shafts.
Yep.
And we came up with that's going to buy me an extra, 10 degrees?
Yes, 10 degrees.
So they were talking about 40 degrees being the max for a Dana 44 shaft on an RCV.
Yep.
And then, so that's going to buy me an extra 10 degrees. And then I was talking about the extra 10 degrees on top of that would be a steering 9 from Spider Tracks and going that route, which is what Chris, was it Gruno?
Mm-hmm.
I always mess that up.
Gruno.
Chris from Reckless Wrench, that we had on here, he was talking about he's got 50 degrees of angle on his Spider Tracks housing. And I was like, well, that sure sounds nice. Like I could turn with that. And so we looked all that up, and the housing, what did we come up with? The housing was $4,200
$5,000
for the housing. Well, that was with the knuckles too. And then to go buy a true Hi9 center section was going to cost me $3,059 before shipping.
Yep.
I feel like at that point they should provide free shipping. Like I've already got.
Would it make you feel better?
Oh yes, much better. Even if it was included in the price and it was just like it's $31.29 free shipping. Like, well, at least the shipping's free.
Center section wouldn't be terribly bad. It's just going to be heavy.
It's heavy, yeah.
But an axle housing usually it's like
freight.
$300 freight charge. And like I'll be driving to pick up that son of a gun.
So we looked that up, and at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that you're going to have, by the time you get that fucker assembled from end to end, it's like $10,000.
Yep.
Which blows my mind.
Yep.
I'm just like, what happened? So,
but that's with anything, because we priced out a 14 pin, just the old good old kingpin steer 14, built out housing from Busted Knuckle.
Yep.
It's like $10,000.
Yep. It's
then
10.5.
we built out a 05 Super Duty, the Super 14 steer housing.
Right.
Built it out, all the works.
Yep.
About
$10,000.
Right around $10,000.
That just blows my mind. So anyway, yeah. And Ian's like, so apparently you've either been sleeping on the axle game, or
which is yes.
Apparently is the case. Yeah. Just don't want to build axles.
You just don't want to do
this
it.
Is why everybody junkyard swaps junkyard swaps to tons.
Yes.
Because it's so much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But
I want clearance.
I mean,
I love my clearance.
How much cheaper is it?
I have no idea.
I'll pose that question, and you
I
can.
like
okay,
I'm betting it's not $10,000 for a front axle.
you can budget swap a Dana 60 into your axle,
but with an air locker.
Rig, but I'm talking like
air locker, gears, all new parts. I bet you're still $4,000.
Depends. No, at least that. How much does a Dana 60 cost you right now?
Super Duty?
I don't know.
So just junkyard Dana 60.
Yep.
We're going to say we're going to do a unit bearing Super Duty
because
between $250 and $1,000.
The reason that the Super Duties are so expensive or so popular is because the like old school leaf sprung Dana 60s, dude, they're like $1,500, $1,800
They're getting expensive. Well, they're getting harder and harder to find.
Yes. And so now, you're talking, if you're wanting to go leaf sprung in the front like that, you got to spend $1,500 for an axle that, as far as I'm concerned, needs completely rebuilt.
Right. End to end.
Yeah. Because it's going to be pulled out of a truck and here you go.
Right.
You're going to need new bearings, seals,
brakes,
everything.
Pins.
Yeah.
I mean, you may as well. You've already got a part.
Yes.
Like you're there.
So then there's so many applications that aren't using leaf springs anymore.
Right.
And that's why the Super Duty 60 is so popular.
Because you got to cut all that shit off anyway.
You cut all this bullshit off anyway.
Right.
Then you got to get into cutting the chunk of the center section off to make room to land a link mount or whatever you want to put there. Yep. I know Artec does make a truss for that shows it's if you want to go to their website, look in the instructions for that truss. It's a very nice, detailed, pictured like tutorial on what you have to cut of that cast center section off. There's also a write-up, I think it's like JK Owners has like a Super 60 Bible that has pictures of that, and it's very detailed. But yeah, you cut, I mean, a couple inches of the center section out to land something on that too.
That's crazy.
But you can pick one of those up for a couple $100.
Right, yeah. And that's the thing. So like you go pick up a Super 60 or like a Super Duty 60 for $250. We'll call it $500.
Yep.
So you build it, you buy it for $500. You put new brakes and bearings on it. You're now into it for about $1,500. The bearings aren't cheap, but
unit bearings are expensive.
Yeah, the unit bearings are expensive.
Yep.
You do that, then you're going to throw in a set of gears. You're going to throw in a zip locker. Yeah, they got a zip locker for 60. You're going to throw in those two things there. That's going to be another $1,500 probably. And then you need to do a truss. Most likely, you're going to do a truss on it. And at the end of the day, you're going to have probably $4,500 in it.
Yeah,
if you do it all out like that, yeah.
Yep.
All new everything, truss, link brackets, all those. What else was it? There was something else expensive I was thinking about on that. Oh, BJEs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like $300.
Not terrible.
But I mean,
is that for upper, lower, both sides?
Just upper.
Just the upper.
Yep.
They don't change the lower.
Nope.
Good enough.
They make lowers, but the general rule of thumb is, I mean, there are guys doing rock bounce or racing with only uppers.
Wow.
But the upper takes the load. So the upper is the one that will actually either break or bend
or pull out.
And the problem is, like, ball joint eliminators. They're like, oh, I could run ball joints, and until I can afford ball joint eliminators, they're prone to breaking.
I guess what I was watching one of the videos.
You're going to fucking taco a shaft.
Yeah.
You're going to taco a axle shaft.
Yep.
When that ball joint breaks, you're probably going to fuck up a shock.
I don't know what the deal was. I don't know if this is same with the if this is the same with the Dana 60, but I guess on the newer 44s from like for a Jeep, the newer 44s, when the axle shaft itself breaks at the U joint.
Yep.
And when it happens is the guy was just explaining on a video. I stumbled across this on Facebook. He makes BJ ball joint eliminators for this application. And what happens is the axle shaft breaks. And when it breaks, it moves. It's able to move then, right? Deflect. Yep. It deflects, it hits that ball joint, and it pushes the upper ball joint up. Yep. Which also pulls the lower ball joint out. And so like the whole assembly just comes up and out.
Yep.
And so like,
and your whole knuckle is now laying on the floor.
Yeah. Brake line's ripped off, whatever, And that's what he was saying.
Like, hopefully it goes out, because if it comes in, I guarantee you it's going to take out a shocker coil.
Right. He was saying the biggest problem or the biggest use for the ball joint eliminator is because the shaft breaks and pushes, and literally just like a press pushes that ball joint up and out of the knuckle. Up out of the C, and the whole knuckle just comes up and out.
And so the ball joint eliminators, you put them in, and then you weld them. They're actually welded in.
Wow.
And then it's a 1-inch through bolt. So I mean, it's beefy as fuck. But they are actually welded in for that, like to solve that pushing them out.
Can somebody tell me this? Can you tell me on a ball joint, a tie rod, any application like that where it has a tapered fit, where it has that joint or whatever? What is the material of that bolt, the taper bolt that is used in a tie rod or a drag link or a ball joint?
It's hardened steel, isn't it?
What, is it grade 8? Is it grade 5?
I'm
just curious to know. Like, I have grade 8 hardware in the front of my Jeep. Is that equivalent to what a normal standard tie rod is?
No, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's what I was trying to figure out. And the reason that brought this up originally was I was talking about making something for the back of the KJ for a different 3-link upper.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll just take a grade 8 bolt. I'll cut it down because it doesn't have a tapered in the rear. It literally, the ball joint on the upper link is literally just a straight stub with a notch on the side of it. And you slide the straight stub into the axle housing. And then there's a bolt that goes through that and it clamps itself down onto that shaft. Like, it's weird.
Well, that's kind of odd.
Yeah. But I mean, it works, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was just like, if I just had a grade 8 bolt, I could just, grind out a little notch and then just slide all that through a Johnny joint, make a 3-link with a Johnny joint, slide the bolt through it, and then bolt it back in just like factory application. But I didn't know if a grade 8 bolt was the same hardened. You looking it up?
Yeah, I was trying to give it a quick
I kind of Googled it at the time and I didn't really find a whole lot of information on what hardness a tie rod is.
So they're not heat treated, but just a high hardness.
Just a high carbon steel. Very interesting. So anyway, what were we talking about? Steering?
Yeah. So that's the thing is,
it sounds to me like if you're not going to go to a steering 9, then Reed knuckles and the RCVs are my best option at this point. But if I do RCVs, I have to change my outer lockouts as well. I'm going to call Chris on
those Yukon. I'm going to call like $500,
$300.
That's not bad.
I'm going to call Chris because I'm not sure, but I do wonder if I can just get the inner, the inner portion of the lockout that has 30 splines instead of 19. If I'm going to have him call his rep and see if that's even an option. Like, can I order just the inside? I have the rest of the lockout. Are they the same enough that I can just use the 30 spline inner? So I'm going to have him check into it. If not, then I'll just pull my 19 splines out. I will throw them in a bag. I'll throw them back in their original packaging and sell them to whoever else needs them for a 44. There's plenty of guys out there running 44s.
Oh yeah.
So it's an option. I'll sell them to Mike.
There you go.
Like, here you go, Mike. Never break another one. So yeah, he hasn't broken too many lockouts. He broke one G2, but I don't know. I like my Yukon hardcores. They're
hammer down. His problem is he's low horsepowered.
Yeah, perfect.
Which is ideally beautiful.
You break less.
You break so much less when you're over-axled and underpowered.
So it sounds like what? Probably $2,500 so I can just fix my steering angle?
Yep.
Seems logical.
Oh, well, what's logical about the off-road world?
Nothing.
Not a damn thing.
Not a damn thing. I don't know if I have more room I'm going to have to change my ram mount where the ram goes if I go to an 8-inch throw. I don't have room right now.
So I just know that everything on like a Dana 60, you just use an 8-inch, but that's full hydro. So I don't really know.
Doesn't make a difference.
I would imagine it's all the same carryover because I'll be honest, like I skipped the whole hydro assist level and I just went, fuck it. Because I never had the intentions to build a street driven rig.
Right.
So I never went down that road, but I would imagine it's the same concept. But that's why I'm very interested to see what you're set at currently. Like, what are you getting degrees like
with
right
full?
now?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to check that. I'm going to throw it on jack stands at some point in the near future and scope that out. Try to figure out what exactly the angle is.
I'd be interested to know.
Me too.
Just to see if you're getting what you could be getting. Because you have no idea where those factory stops are set.
Yeah, they might
have just fucking winged them in there, and everybody's like, "Oh,
25 degrees, 22 degrees,"
and that's what I mean. Like if you're getting 20 degrees, well, cool, just crank them in and done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm using to the best of my knowledge, I'm using the full stroke of the ram.
Yeah, which indicates you're probably using
30 degrees,
pretty close to whatever the max on that is.
That'd be my guess.
I mean, you could always push it more, and you just start snapping axle shafts.
I'm not going to do that.
But
before I do that, before I do something like that, I will literally buy new knuckles, buy the RCVs, and I'll sell all the good parts.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. Yeah. Sell it while it's all good.
Because because everything, the axle shafts are good. They're the old Superior shafts, the Discovery shafts, and they're strong. Like I'm out wheeling on 40s. Yeah, I'm crawling up walls on 40s with 538s. If you're not breaking a front shaft doing that, I mean, you're doing decent. Yep. But, so I need to do, it's just one of the things that's like on my list of like, this is where, a couple updates. One, the steering problem that I used to have with the whole steering binding when you try to turn too fast, it has seemed to have gotten better. And I think part of it is being full on fluid and cycling the system enough to get all the air bubbles worked out of it. I think that maybe that was just part of the issue. Hadn't been used enough to get it all worked in.
Back when I had my steering issues, I was wondering if I had it bled enough. I watched a video from I don't know who it was now, but it was a legit name steering company. And they said with the steering system, you had to cycle it. Dude, it was like 60 or 80 something. I mean, like absolutely stupid
to work all
and that was lock to lock. That was not like from one side to the other. That was like full cycle. Yeah. It was like 60 or 80 times.
Before
and I'm like,
that
doesn't sound like a lot, but like, bro, go out and turn your steering wheel left and then right.
And then also, if you're having a lot of air,
60 fucking times.
If you're having a lot of air in the system, you need to turn it one way, shut it off.
Yep.
Let it, sit for 15, 30 minutes, whatever. Let that air come to the top of the pump, fire it back up, turn to the other way, shut it off. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to get the air to come out and stay out of that pump, you don't, if the fluid's full of air, if it's aerated, then you're just pumping aerated fluid back down to the ram and the box and everything else. Yeah. So anyway, it still does a little bit of binding stuff every now and again when I'm like at idle and trying to like make a quick turn. I notice
that's just your pump.
I think it's just, I think it's the limitations of the application.
Pushing more pressure.
Yeah. I think it's literally the limitations of the pump doing that. And, but other than that, like I backed out of the driveway earlier and just spun the wheel just like a stock vehicle. It didn't feel out of place. Every now and again, I'll feel it hit against that kind of that bump against that, that whatever. But outside of that, it just seems to work pretty well. So there's a couple upgrades I'd like to do in the future. Just not going to do them right this moment. Huh? Roof? What the fuck?
I don't know. It seems very overlandish.
Another update. I got a phone call yesterday from the transmission shop.
Oh, yeah? How'd that go?
Not great.
Okay. Well, let's update the listeners and myself.
And yourself, because I haven't told you yet. Yeah. So he called me yesterday and he's telling me the story. I'm like waiting for it to go real downhill real quick.
Yep.
And he's like, so I got the transmission back in your truck and I went to take it for a test drive.
Oh, that's always a good sign.
He's like, it doesn't make the noise anymore that it was making.
Okay.
So it's not whining anymore. And he's like, but I can't test drive it because the front brakes are so locked up. He's like, I literally had it like half throttle trying to get it back to the driveway because the brakes were smoking. I was like, well, that's fucking good. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, I told him, he's like, yeah, so the front brakes are kind of locked up on it. I was like, yeah, that's not the first time. I'm like, that's not abnormal. Yeah. It's those calipers have done that before. Or just all of a sudden, like, they're like, not today. So, he said that both front calipers were seized. And he's like, yeah. And when I pulled back in the driveway, the pedal was really stiff, like you really had to stand on it. And I'm thinking, great, this is the part where he's going to tell me he ran my truck into somebody else's vehicle. But he didn't say that. So maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But nonetheless, he was just talking about the brake pedal is really stiff. I'm like, well, yeah, if the fucking calipers up front are locked and you press the brake down and those fuckers are set, like, does that sound like?
Sounds normal.
Sounds like a seized
caliper.
caliper.
A proportional valve in that.
It's just all factory braking.
Yeah, but it's not a factory front axle, though, is it?
In my pickup?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all factory everything. Nothing's changed on the crew cab. Why?
I'm just wondering if you'd like upgraded brakes or something like that.
Nope. It's all factory everything. So unless something in the ABS, now it didn't have that problem when I drove it, but then again, like, it's been sitting
for a while.
Like, I completely understand if the front brakes are locked up. Like, I get that. Those calipers, like I said, have done this before. This is not the first time I've had both of those calipers have seized in the past.
So you just replace the calipers?
I think I need to replace the calipers and bleed the system out. It might have dirt in it.
Probably.
So just give it a little system flush.
Yep.
I'm gonna go over to Napa this week, pick up 2 new calipers, take them over there, throw them on the truck. Might do rotors while I'm there. I don't think.
Might as well.
On that application, just as soon as you pull the caliper off, you can take the rotor off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I may do that and change all that over and then take her for a test drive and try it out. Hopefully he did a good enough job. Let's hope. Said that the quote, I asked him on the quote and he's like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to try to keep it as close to what I quoted you as I can. I was like, well, that's appreciated. You only had the fucker for 4 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, yeah, we had some issues, but like,
yeah,
it wasn't a quick turnaround either. So,
yeah. And you got some fucking 480 E parts out of the whole deal.
Yeah. So, like, work with me.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not all usable, but I mean, you get a fucking valve body out. Like, the valve body in that other one was good. Like, it wasn't fucked up. So you got all the valve. Like, what's a valve body for a 480 E worth?
$24.
Really?
I don't.
It's cheap.
Fuck clue. No fucking clue, man.
I bet it's not cheap. All the solenoids. So, but anyway, yeah. Hopefully, I go over there this week and get that figured out. And then once that's figured out, maybe I'll get my truck back.
That'd be nice.
And then I get to go on the long journey of getting it back to daily driver status.
Yes.
Nickel and diming.
All of it.
Wait till it's just going to be a fucking money pit.
Yes.
And I'm going to get fed up with it. And I'm going to sell that motherfucker.
Yep.
And somebody else is going to drive it for a decade worry free.
Yep. I mean, this is literally like, can we put a marker here? Because, like, yes, this will happen. You will do this. You will say, fuck all it, you sold it. You're going to go buy what you want to buy, and you're going to be done, and you're going to love it. And the next guy's going to be excited with your truck, and that's how everything works.
It's just life.
Yep.
I literally pulled in and up here today and looked at your truck. I was like, I wonder if he'll sell it to me.
What, the black one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's fucking as is where is.
It looks fine. The brakes seem to work on it.
The trailer is unhooked.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, I thought the trailer was hooked up, but I unhooked it the other day. And I was like, you fuck take the whole thing. Bye. I got some trailer.
For the low price of.
Oh, no, it's not bad. It is for sale.
Are we last calling today?
We could. Yeah, let's we
got 15 minutes to last call.
Let's just last call and roll through it because I got trailer stuff to talk about.
So, like, are we beering last call?
I don't care. You got stuff to do today, so I don't know what that means.
I mean, okay, I'll grab a quick beer.
Bye now.
Okay.
No, I hit the wrong button, but it's okay.
Oh, God damn it, Ian.
That's why I did the.
God.
Well, you
make my life so hard.
You just take 2 and put them together. Okay. Like, how fucking hard is that?
Change of plans.
Whiskey. Bourbon.
Huh?
Scotch.
Almost.
Tequila.
So we got something in the mail the other day that you apparently did not drink.
Okay.
I feel like it's fitting for today's episode.
Okay.
So
I got it in the mail?
We got it in the mail.
Here.
We both got one. You did not consume yours.
Okay. The fuck is this? Oh, the coffee. Yeah, completely. I was driving to work the other day and I was like, son of a bitch, I forgot my coffee.
Yeah.
That like the day after we did that.
Yeah. Yep. I did drink mine. I posted it on Instagram. Okay. Right. So I've had this.
All right.
So I will give you the majority of it. This is way different. Okay. Huh? Yeah, we got 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I gotta get I gotta get out of here.
All right. So why you pour this?
So I have a customer just me at the house in 30. So this is
our no mocha frappa crappa bullshit or whatever he said. Not bush.
Sounds like a bush.
Sounds like a mocha frappa crappa coffee to me.
Smells good. So this is way different than the normal coffee that I drink.
Okay. I don't drink coffee unless it's in beer.
This is a pour hard.
So just dump it.
Okay. There's your serving. So look at the color of that. Is that the normal color of your coffee?
Yeah. No, it's not.
No, it's way lighter,
it's
right?
Different. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking when I got this. So anyhow, here it is. This is our Nitro Cold Brew, New Mexico Pinion coffee. It's made from what was like the Pinion smooth and mellow coffee with a subtle hint of nuttiness infused with nitrogen for a creamy texture. Naturally flavored with the taste of pinion, a pine nut that grows in the high mountains of New Mexico. And it's 0 calorie, no sugar, high caffeine. This is more of a blonde style roast of coffee. That's why it has that lighter color.
Lighter color.
Yeah. And it has that more bitter. I don't know if I want to call it bitter. Blonde roast has a more of a bittery kind of taste to me, I guess, anyway. It's not this smoky roast. So anyway, give that a try. I think you'll like it. Yep, that's how that's
I like noticeably. I think you got the
better one.
Did I?
I don't remember.
How does that mean better one? It's the same shit, right?
It's good flavor. It's good coffee flavor. But anyway, yeah, it's a cold brew. It's a Nitro cold brew.
I really just don't like coffee when it's not in my beer.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Well, you're fucked.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'll drink it. Like I drink. I've been drinking the like Starbucks cold can things, and I'll drink the Black Rifle coffee, stuff like that. So I've been,
but they got like sugar, a little bit sweetener in it.
Yeah. But it's
not coffee and beer.
Yeah, this is not going to be my wheelhouse.
No, but it wasn't mine. The first cup I had wasn't mine either.
It smells so fun. Like I love
the smell
of fucking coffee. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So this is just like straight ass black coffee.
Coffee, my ice cream. I just love like the flavor of coffee.
Oh God, I can just sniff this.
Oh yeah, it's good smell. Yeah, it's just straight ass. I don't know if I would call that black coffee because it's definitely not black. It's like an amber color. What do you think of that? Different than you expected.
It's way different than what I had pictured.
That is that.
But I could drink that. Like that's good stuff.
Yeah, that is the that pine nut.
Yeah,
that's that taste you're getting is that pine nut. I think that really changes the taste of it. Anyway. Because it's almost like a not sour, but like, you know what I'm saying? What do you call that? Like that
bitter.
Yeah.
Like black coffee to me is bitter as shit. It's nasty. I don't know how the fuck old people drink it. And fuck y'all.
I can drink.
Put some flavorings in your coffee, boys.
I do. Here recently, I've been doing vanilla and sweetener.
Yep.
In my black coffee. Mm-hmm. I drank black coffee straight for years.
I wish I could. Because it's not bad for you. It's not bad for you.
It doesn't seem to be terrible.
Yeah, but it's better than fucking Red Bull every day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's like hindsight. Like I could take that caffeine and I would use that without drinking a fucking Red Bull every day.
Like, you're getting caffeine from.
That'd be great.
Right.
And that's what I mean. Well, like it's not like coffee's great for you, but like comparative to the other shit that I get for my energy in the morning, that I seemingly have now developed a need to live without a Red Bull. Like,
it's weird.
I don't drink a Red Bull or any kind of Rockstar or Monster or anything on the weekends because I don't go to the fucking gas station. But literally
on the weekdays,
every day.
Jesus.
So on the weekends, I have this little fucking headache.
Just
a little
something that you need
all weekend, and I'm like, boys, like, is my eyes like kind of stressed out of my sinuses? And I swear to God, Monday I go to work, drink a Red Bull or a Monster or whatever I feel like that morning.
Just a little pump of caffeine. Oh, it's bad. Caffeine addiction is real.
I honestly, I think I think I'm there.
Yeah. To the addiction.
Well, however long ago I started this solar farm.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. Oh yeah. It wouldn't take long to get.
I stop at Casey's every day. And it used to be once in a while. And now it literally, there's a Red Bull. Like I've upgraded to the damn 20 ounces some days on like I'm feeling it today. And the 20 ounces are on sale and 20 ounces throughout the day.
Terrible.
How much time we got left?
We got about 5 minutes.
Perfect.
Tops.
Let me wrap this off.
Okay. 5 minutes.
So I've been doing some investigational research.
Okay.
Looking at pictures.
Okay.
If you call it research, it sounds professional.
Yeah.
So the end game for what I want is as such. I'm going to take my trailer.
Okay.
And I'm going to build some kind of toolbox, fuel tank combo on it somewhere.
Okay.
I want to be able to store fluids. I want to be a high lift mount, shit like that. And then I also want 30 gallons of gas. So that if I go to the Badlands, I don't have to take a gas can full of 5 gallons of gas. I can literally, when I go by the gas station, I can fill up my tow rig, I can fill up the buggy, and I can put whatever I want into that tank.
So you want to put like an actual tank?
I want to put 30 gallons of gas storage on the trailer.
Oh, in a tank.
Something.
A tank form, yeah. How close does your buggy get to the front of the trailer?
Not that far. I mean, there's enough room there.
8-10 inches?
Yeah. No, it's probably more than that.
Okay. So you could literally build a flat tank. Like that just lays on the floor of the trailer.
So yeah. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like, after a wheeling trip or after I come home from somewhere, I can be like, oh, I only used a few gallons of this gas. I can just pull my pickup or the wife's car right up next to it and just pump it off into that and then I'm done.
It's too bad it's not diesel fuel. Like it's just it's less flammable. But you could just literally put a tap on the front of the tank because the trailer sits high enough off the ground. Yep. You could put a tap on the front of the tank and just fill a jerry can with it.
Yeah. And that's what I want to make. Dude, like one keg. I want to make like it's an option. I want to do like one fuel can mount.
Yeah.
That way I can have a fuel can. But then I can literally just like I'm not putting a fucking transfer pump. I may put a little electric pump, depends on how high the tank goes. We'll see how that goes. But I want to basically like put some gas in a fucking can. Yeah. And then either put it in a buggy or put it in the generator or put it in the camper for the generator or whatever I'm using. I just want to be kind of utilitarian with that.
I feel like you have enough room up there. That trailer sits pretty high off the ground once you like did the lift.
Because I spring overed it.
Yeah.
I lifted my trailer.
Yeah. So it sits pretty high up. You could actually cut a hole in the floor.
Even better.
Under the axle area?
I'm going to
like a front axle?
I'm going to one up you.
You could cut a hole in the floor and recess.
Nope.
What?
They make under trailer tanks that are set for the spacing that just, it's like a poly tank with like a frame that just, boop. Yeah, fucking, they're out of like RVs or you can buy.
Is that a manufactured trailer?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's built from somebody, but
you did homebrew. It's not homebrew.
It's like somebody company built it.
Right. Okay.
They sell like enclosed trailers with fuel tank storage kits. So they make these like tanks that literally for the trailer spacing just boop, and you bolt them up underneath
in between the frame rails. Yep. Like in between the railing in there.
They're like $200.
Okay. So it's a cage. So it hangs a little below the trailer.
It's only like that deep.
Like, okay. So maybe hangs like 4 inches below the trailer.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, yours is lifted. So it's not like if you put it up closer to the tongue, you're never going to hit anything with it.
Yep.
Huh. That'd be pretty sweet.
So that's an option.
So how many gallons is that?
I think they're like, you can get them like 30, 40, something in there.
Sweet.
So there's an option.
That's a great option.
There's the option of the transfer tank with the toolbox, which is them things are expensive.
I don't hate it being underneath the trailer because it's an ideal spot.
It's out of the way.
It's out of the way. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. And like I said, because yours is lifted, it makes me a lot less nervous of you like catching something on the road and flipping it up.
You could always build a little skid plate, like a little.
Well, it's a metal deck anyway, so it's like a firewall.
Yeah, it starts on fire.
It may burn everything under the trailer, but the top of the trailer will probably be fine.
Yeah. So you could always build a little skid plate on it for
easy
purposes too,
because of the cage.
Yep.
I like that. How do you transfer out of that tank?
See, that I would think you're going to need a pump because it's low.
Yeah, but a pump's not a big deal.
Yeah,
you can get a pusher pump.
Yep. So then my other option is I want to do like you've seen the like open race car hauler beds that have the like the dirt car on the back and like the toolbox box. I don't need something so elaborate because I don't need to haul tires and shit like that. But something, a scaled down version of that. I saw one this morning. Let me just flash you this picture.
You got
real fast.
We're counting it down.
Because this is almost exactly minus the tire carrier.
Okay.
Maybe a little shorter.
So it's basically a wall.
It's just a square wall with like 2 doors that would open in the front. And then I would get like an old like 30-gallon fuel cell and just mount it in there on like the top. So then you could just gravity feed it.
Yeah.
And not need a pump.
Not a bad idea.
And then you can put your coolant, your fluids, your high lift, all that shit in a box and then close it up. Because anything I'm going to pull behind it is a pickup or a camper.
Right. The only bad thing about that is just the wind block.
Yeah.
Just
which the pickup, it would be me, but like the camper,
I wouldn't even know.
Fuck.
Right.
So that's what
very interesting.
That's my new fab project because I don't get that done. There's a couple events that we're going to this year that I'm going to need some extra fuel.
Man, you know, it'd be cool.
So
take that same concept and so because the buggy doesn't mount right against the front of the trailer, take the front rail off of the trailer.
Yep.
And make the tongue, the part of the tongue that you want to use, make it flat with the deck. And then build that box, but a triangle. And then the doors open. So you have a door on either side of the tongue and it's a triangle.
Yep.
And then the doors would open.
Kind of like a wedge.
It'd be a wedge. It would be a wedge, but now you have all of that internal storage and then your winch is inside there, deep in there.
Yeah.
And then you just open the doors from either side on the sides of the tongue.
Yep.
And then also, so then it would be better on fuel economy because now you have a wedge in front of your buggy.
Yep.
And you'd have even more storage.
Yeah. Because you're using more space.
I like that.
And that's where I'm like, I obviously don't need to get this done like tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of just exploring some options. I'm like keeping an eye on Facebook for like old like toolbox or fuel cells or something like that. So there's a few different ways you could do it, but I'm going to come up with something kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then basically I just want fluid storage, high lift jack storage. My winch should obviously be on there somewhere.
Right.
And then I want 30 gallons of gas.
I like it.
Yeah. So that's all I got.
Sweet.
Thanks for coming.
Sorry it's such a short episode this week, but I got to fly because I have to go meet a customer about some money.
All the dollars.
You like that coffee?
Honestly, when he sent that, I was like, I'm not even going to like that. I'm going to take a sip of it and it's going to be garbage. I could drink that.
Pretty good.
Does that have a lot of caffeine in that?
Yeah, it said high caffeine.
Boy, see now, like
this is what you need in your life. That's what you need in the morning. You need a little 8 ounce.
Need a little 8 ounce.
Chris, we're going to need you to ship some more of this for Ian.
Case of that.
This has, I don't know why it's better this time, but it's better flavor this go around. I like it.
I mean, it's probably a little different flavor on just like beer.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more inconsistent than beer, to be honest.
I don't know. So either way, we got to wrap this up. Thanks for coming back for another episode of the Total Off-Road Podcast. Make sure you check us out on YouTube at Total Off-Road Podcast, on Instagram at Total_Offroad_Podcast. We're also on Facebook at Total Off-Road Podcast, basically across the platforms. Just look for us anywhere that you party.
There's a link page on the website.
www.totaloffroadpodcast.com link page. Go check it out. We got swag over there. You got the Nug Life stickers. Go pick up one of those. We got t-shirts and other stickers and goodies.
More stuff coming soon.
And all of our things and more stuff coming soon. Appreciate you guys coming here, and we'll catch you on the trail.